markers here and there all over the place on the exam, on the tests. So you need to understand how this works, okay? So sometimes the province will ask you, how can you reduce your monthly payment? How can someone pay less a month, okay? And I want you to, well, this table won't always be there, but it kind of shows you, look at the term in years. So let's say you have a 3% loan, that's your interest rate. You went for 1 year, you'd be paying $84.69 per $1,000. What happens to that amount the longer you take to pay it off? You see that? It drops. Like as you increase the time to pay, your payment will go down, okay? Same with your interest rate. So if you are at a 5% interest rate versus 3% interest rate, if you were to somehow able to lower your interest rate, you also pay less. It doesn't matter where you go on this table. If you go from a high interest rate and go towards a lower, that number goes down slowly, right? So that's another way of reducing your monthly payment. And more importantly, let's go to page 27. The formula is probably the best way to, if you ever draw a blank, look at the formula on page 27 to figure out your monthly payment. This table rate, obviously you get that from page 32. So there are two ways to reduce this. The smaller this number, the lower your payment is going to be. So you reduce your interest rate or you increase the number of years. I'll write that down for you. You'll copy that. Another way of reducing your monthly payment would be to increase this down payment. The more you put down, obviously there's less to finance, so your monthly payment is going to go down there as well. So let's go to page 31. And I need you to have at least one of each, maybe I would say two of each on your study sheet, two of these things that we're going to fill in. This is on page 31. Caden, do you mind turning off the front? Thank you very much. So the first question, and I have to tell you, it's not, I always go straight to the point, but the province sometimes puts some context around it, like they'll present you with a story of someone, and I'm hoping you will realize, okay, they're drawing from this, okay? So how would somebody be able to reduce or lower? You can also say decrease if, right? I don't know what terminology they're going to use. How could you reduce the total interest you've paid? Okay, how much interest you will have paid over the lifetime, okay? So you could say you could increase the amount of the down payment. This is talking about interest paid, right? So if you put more down, you're going to pay less interest. Another way of achieving the total interest you will have paid the bank is decrease the interest rate. Now, honestly, you can't really negotiate with the bank a whole lot. So you would have to go shop around, right? Shop for best rates, okay? And mortgages is a bit more complicated, but loans, did you know that you can get a loan today from your bank and next week find out that a different bank has a lower interest rate? You can go to that bank and get a loan from them and completely pay off the one you just started, and then you just switch that over to another bank. You absolutely can do that. So don't let anybody tell you once you're locked in for 5 years, you're done. You can actually pay it off anytime. I would probably say, I remember one of my banks saying you have to stay with us for at least 30 days or something like that. But then afterwards you could pay it off immediately, okay? This is maybe another point. This one doesn't show up on the course, to be honest, this concept, but if you have cash to buy a car, get a loan instead and just go for like a year. Just make those payments for a year and then pay it off if you want. But there's something about your credit rating. I don't know if you're aware of that. But in Canada, the worst thing is to not have any credit. Like if you never had a loan, never had a credit card, nothing, you don't show up in this system. So if you ever want to get a mortgage, like you want to buy a house or anything, they have zero history on you, and it's really difficult to get a mortgage. It's really hard for them to loan you money if you have no history. So yes, you'll pay a little bit of interest. I understand that. You might be like, ah, it sucks, right? But try to get a loan, even for a year. Sign a 5-year loan, make payments for a year, and then pay it off if you don't want to pay interest, right? But that way you build credit. So that's complete aside, just for you to know. So increase the amount of the down payment, decrease the interest rate. You can also make additional, bless you, make additional payments. Make additional payments. So you can do something called lump sum, right? Or small contributions. So if you were to, if it's your birthday or, I don't know, something special, a special anniversary of some sort, and you get money, you can actually go to the bank and say, hey, you know that loan that I have? I want all of this to go towards it. In addition to the monthly payments you're making. You're actually cutting down the time that it's going to take you to pay it off, and in so doing, you save interest, right? So you can also do that. Increase the amount of the down payment, decrease the interest rate, make additional down payments, and here's the last one, shorten the amortization the term or time, okay, to pay off. That's the last that I'm going to give you, the last one. So I would like you to have at least 2 of these, as small as you can possibly do this on your study sheet. Make it very succinct, like don't go a whole paragraph, right? Just short, one word that reminds you of what to do, okay? Do I want to go here? I think I'm going to do it because a lot of students, I even didn't know this, okay? With the making additional payments. You don't have to write this part down, but let's say you buy not a brand new car, but new to you, and your payment is, let's say, $350 a month. When you sign that paper, and this is the payment that they calculate, you have to stick with it, okay? You cannot skip this payment. But what you could do is make an additional, hey, you know what? Can you make another payment of $30 every month? That's what I actually did with the last car that I bought. I'm like, this is the payment. It's more than this, unfortunately. But you make this payment, and I say every month take off a little bit more and pay it off faster. The reason why you make a second payment is because if you ever get into a tough spot and you don't have enough money, you can call the bank and just say, hey, you know the second payment that I'm making, I can't afford it for the next little while, just cancel it. But then, right, you must stick with this, but you can cancel this one. So don't be saying to the bank, oh, your payment is $350, sir. It's like, oh, no worries, put $500, I'll do $500 a month. Once you sign that paper, you can't cancel that, okay? So if you want to make additional payments, set up a second payment, okay? This is your second payment, so to speak, every month. So that's the strategy, so you don't get dinged if you run out of money, right? See, sometimes life changes, circumstances change, okay? Next, how can you lower your monthly payment? So this is to reduce the payment, okay? This is one way, is a decrease, some will overlap with the top, decrease the interest rate. Shop around. Okay? Shop around. Another way of decreasing your monthly payment is increase the down payment. So you want to pay less a month. This is one way of doing it. Increase your down payment, put more down. And here's it gets a little controversial. If you want to have a lower payment, you can increase the term / amortization of loan. And these are exactly the same as mortgages, okay? Increase the term / amortization. Take longer to pay it off. Okay? You want me to write that in layman's terms here? Take longer to pay off. And that's it. We're good there. All right? So if you want to lower your monthly payment, pick one of these, okay, to justify it. But if you want to pay less interest over time, pick one of these, okay? Decreasing the interest rate is good for both scenarios, by the way. But you don't have a whole lot of say there. And I'm sneaky, so sometimes I'll say, other than the interest rate, what are some additional changes you can make to pay less interest over time? Right? So you might have to pick one, like another one other than the interest rate. So have two of each, I would say, and then you're quite safe. Right? Okay. I think at this time I'll give you the AC. We'll write the AC. We'll correct it, and then we'll do something called amortization tables. I don't know if you remember that from grade 11. You may have done that in grade 11. I don't know if you forgot. So close your booklets.